Me and my parents had been in the savannas of Africa for months. My parents were scientists following a herd of elephants to investigate their poop. Yep, for real.
Mike, this really is some magnificent material right here.
Son, come smell it.
Thanks, Mom, but I think I'm good. While they were a little too fascinated by elephant poop, I was obsessed with finding the big spite beetle, the legendary gem of Africa, an insect so rare that many believe it to be a myth. To find it, I became skilled at moving silently in nature, barefoot, and without making a noise, just like a ninja.
Why are you frozen like that?
Snake! Danger! Mom, I can't move! Help!
Son, that's a branch. Did you forget your glasses again?
Oops. Everything was great, at least during the day, because there were other, more terrifying stories too. Stories that kept me up at night. The locals talked about a cannibalistic red-haired demon, a creature that was behind strange disparitions. He was said to have the strength of 100 men, and he wandered through the land looking for human flesh.
Mike! I'm coming to get you, Mike, whether you like it or not! Mike!
Mike? Are you having those dreams again?
Of course, I didn't believe it to be true, but sometimes I had nightmares about the whole thing. After all, the demon had the strength of 100 men, and we were only 3. Despite these dreams, it was kind of a peaceful life, at least until Rory came along. He showed up one day out of nowhere in a big 4x4 Jeep. In a few minutes, he set up a whole camp with a big, ultra-modern and comfortable tent.
Whew, son, you have to see this.
I am seeing it?
She means you forgot to put on your glasses again.
Maybe I should have another pair of them? Rory soon swung by our camp to say hi. He was a big guy that wore a hat and glasses just like mine, and he was super friendly. Perhaps a little bit too much.
We short-sighted have to stick together, huh?
That night, my parents invited Rory over to our camp for dinner. He accepted, but refused to eat any of our food. Supposedly, he followed a very strict diet, and he would prepare his own meal. Okay, rude, but he seemed interested in our diet nonetheless.
So what is it that you guys eat? You seem in very good shape.
I thought it was a strange way of making up conversation, but did not think much of it. Until the wind blew his hat off. His hair was red, like the demon. Could it be possible that these stories about missing people were grounded in something real? I mean, he refused to eat our food, and then he checked if my parents were fit to eat them?
And that's how I saved those little children's lives.
But what about the strength of 100 men? I mean, he was big, but didn't seem that strong. My dad and mom together were probably able to tackle him down. We were in the middle of nowhere with an actual cannibal?
Mike, are you okay?
You have been looking at our guest's hair for a couple of minutes now.
In complete silence.
Rory looked at me and smiled. Weren't his lips really red? And his canine teeth more sharp than the usual? No, that's vampires. You are now thinking of vampires, Mike. I had to say something. Cannibal? What the? Everyone started laughing. It was a silly joke, of course.
I get it. It's because of the hair. But you know those legends are like hundreds of years old, right? Funny, I thought you were the most cerebral one.
My face turned as red as his hair with the humiliation, and I remained silent for the rest of that night. Rory told my parents he was a scientist too, but something in the whole thing still smelled fishy to me. Okay, he probably wasn't a cannibal, but he didn't look like a real scientist either. At least, he wasn't going to be there the next day, or so I thought. Because when I woke up...
Morning, champ. Care for some breakfast? I made a kid special for you.
Morning? Champ? We almost just met. And also, kid special? I was almost 15.
Rory offered himself to cook for us today. Isn't he great?
I wish others would do the same more often.
See? Just a regular breakfast. No human meat.
I have to admit, it was delicious. Maybe this Rory guy wasn't that bad.
So, your dad told me you think you're very close to finding the big spite beetle. You know it's just another legend. right?
And it was gone. I didn't like him again, and I knew why. He thought I was just a silly little kid, lost in silly little bedtime stories. Was I? Well, I don't know.
What are you talking about? You said a couple of days ago that we were probably getting close.
You really think so?
I mean, it was true, but now I wasn't sure. And also, I didn't want Rory to know more about it. So I denied everything, actually pretending for it to be just a kid's tale. Unfortunately, my parents liked Rory, and since he was studying elephants too, he soon joined our little group. I didn't enjoy that at all. We were a happy family, and now this stranger was ruining everything.
Hey, let me take care of that. I will clean it up.
Thank you, Rory.
You know, Mom, I can clean too.
I know you can, Mike, but Rory just makes it faster.
He made me feel useless, taking care of everything my mom and dad needed. And as days passed, I even felt like Dad and Rory were becoming best friends, leaving me out of their world. Sometimes, Dad wouldn't even hear my advice, like when we got into a swamp just because Rory wanted to see a rare spider. Dad, I don't think we should go deeper.
Oh, little Mike thinks it could be dangerous.
I mean,
How old are you, Mike?
14? But my birthday is super close.
14. When I was your age, I was 35.
Yeah, come on, Mike. It's time to man up a little.
I mean, there could be crocodiles in here, venomous insects.
I used to swim in swamps with my mouth open, and guess what? Insects were too scared to get in.
Once, I swallowed an insect and it was awful. Because I needed salt. So I returned the next day with a salt jar. Mom used to buy a new salt jar every week. She'd chase me around the house with her flip-flop, trying to knock some sense into me.
And they could go on and on, until it wasn't even funny.
Fact, when crocodiles see me, they turn into crocodiles.
Do you know what they call a crocodile after I fight with it? A crocodun.
That's a good one.
No, it's not. I hated how things were going, and I needed to do something about it. Maybe I could find out something about Rory. Something bad. One night, using my ninja skills, I sneaked into Rory's tent and slowly went through his things. Suddenly, I heard a noise. It was Rory coming back. I hid behind his sleeping bag, and then I saw something weird. Just when Rory was coming in, like he always did, he took out his glasses to clean them, and I couldn't help but to move a little.
Hello?
He turned his flashlight on and pointed it in my direction. I was paralyzed. I couldn't even breathe. Rory started to move towards me. I was almost running out of air. He was so close. And just then, I heard my dad calling him. Rory took a water thermos that was right beside him.
Give me a break. I'm coming!
As I was getting out of the tent, I felt a crack under my feet. I had broken Rory's glasses. But I couldn't worry about that. I didn't have time. I ran to tell Mom and Dad what I saw, only to find Rory was still talking with them. I felt like he was watching me, in a weird way, as he knew something.
Where were you, kiddo?
You know, just playing.
In your fantasy world again, huh?
When he finally left, I told my discovery to my parents. He is a hunter!
What? He is a scientist just like us.
And I can't believe you snuck into our friend's tent. You are in for great trouble, young boy.
I saw a huge rifle in his tent, and a gun! I'm sure he is here for the elephants.
Oh, honey, did you forget your glasses again?
He must have those things for personal defense. How could he be a hunter alone?
I don't know. Maybe he has a crew waiting for a signal or something.
Rory is our friend.
I get it that you might be a little jealous now that we aren't just us. But this is too much.
I felt awful. My own parents didn't believe me. But things were just about to get worse, because one day, my mother woke up being really sick. It was an extremely rare disease that got serious pretty fast. Mom spent the whole day sleeping, too tired to even eat. And we were a couple of days away from the nearest city.
Mom?
Thankfully, I remembered the existence of a flower that could be used as a cure. And so I convinced Dad to take me to the jungle, where maybe I could find it. While I was there, another plant caught my eye. A plant with a strange, bright flower. But I couldn't waste any time. When I found what I needed, we rushed to Mom.
Just in time. One more day and she wouldn't have made it.
Back to normal again. Only this time, there was something bothering me. Something stuck in the back of my mind. Back when I was looking for the flower to save Mom, I saw a strange, bright flower. According to the legend, the big spite beetle lived near that flower. I think this might be it.
I couldn't help but listen.
I turned over, only to find Rory was pointing a gun at us.
You know, I recently found my glasses were broken, and I believe this little guy here had something to do with it. The thing is, now I can't drive by myself. So, I need you to be kind and take me over that jungle you were just speaking of, and find that beetle for me. Thank you very much.
Wait, what? I thought you didn't believe in the Sarandite beetle. I thought you were a hunter.
I was waiting for you to take me to it. That beetle will be worth like 100 elephants on the black market.
But I don't really know where it is. I've been searching for months with no luck.
Well, you better find some luck now, or else.
Rory forced us to walk through the jungle for hours. And of course, at some point, my parents got emotional.
I'm sorry, son. I should have listened more to you.
I'm sorry, too. You were always right about him.
It's okay. And you know, maybe we should talk about this later? For the first time, I didn't want to find the beetle. Rory didn't deserve that discovery. But as they say, you find it when you stop looking for it. Suddenly, I saw the bright flower, and then an intense, strange glow in the grass. I tried to hide my excitement, but Rory noticed.
The big spite beetle. Catch it.
I got on the ground, looking for the insect. Finally, I had it in my hands.
What are you waiting for? Bring it here.
You want it? Go get it! I threw it as far as I could. Rory dropped the gun and turned around to go after it. That's when Mom and Dad tackled him and tied him up with some vines.
What have you done? How could you throw it away?
You know, I recently learned a valuable lesson. You should always have an extra pair of glasses. I just threw a little piece of elephant poop. But I guess you couldn't spot the difference. From my pocket, I took out the big spite beetle. It was the most beautiful thing I ever saw. My parents apologized again for doubting me, and we were able to call the authorities to arrest Rory. As for me, I decided to release the big spite beetle. If people knew it was real, hunters would come for it. The beetle deserved to remain a legend.